Kevin Stefanski department. It looked like he seemingly apologizes subliminally to Shedeur Sanders for sabotaging him throughout the entire 2025 season. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up through Cleveland. Let's get it.
Kevin Stefanski just said about Shedeur Sanders has the entire NFL world doing a double take. After months of controversy, after weeks of rumors about sabotage, limited reps, and a rookie quarterback allegedly being set up to fail, after all the whispers, the accusations, and the headlines that painted one of the most toxic coach-player dynamics we've seen in recent memory, Kevin Stefanski stepped in front of cameras, and what came out of his mouth, nobody saw it coming. Was this an apology? Was this an admission of guilt? Or was this a head coach, reportedly on the verge of losing his job, trying to rewrite history before the final buzzer sounds on his Cleveland tenure? Stay with me.
Because there's a sequence of events that happened. Shedeur Sanders did not receive any first-team reps. Shedeur Sanders was being lied on about not being prepared at team meetings, not sitting in the front, and all these different scenarios was coming out about the Cleveland Browns and Kevin Stefanski. He was looked over when it comes to Dillon Gabriel. Well, I'm here to tell you, Kevin Stefanski has broken his silence 24 hours before Shedeur Sanders' final start. Now, this is one final game preview that allegedly Kevin Stefanski will be hosting with the Cleveland Browns.
Because what you're about to hear changes everything we thought we knew about this situation.
I am here to tell y'all, when I seen the clip, and I'll show y'all the clip that I seen before we watch the video in its entirety, it shocked the hell out of me. I mean, it shocked me so bad that me hearing the words that Kevin Stefanski was uttering was surprising, bro. Surprising for him to praise Shedeur throughout his ups and downs throughout this season, to finally give him credit, to damn near say, you know what, I dropped the ball, my bad. That's what it kind of felt like with Kevin Stefanski today.
Rewind for a moment, because to truly understand the weight of what Stefanski said, you need to understand just how bad things got between him and Shedeur Sanders. When Shedeur Sanders entered the 2025 NFL Draft, he wasn't just another quarterback prospect. He was the son of Deion Sanders, one of the most electrifying players in NFL history. He was the face of Colorado football. He was polarizing, sure, but he was also undeniably talented. The Cleveland Browns selected him with expectations that he would be the franchise's future. The guy who could finally end the quarterback carousel that had plagued this organization for decades. But from the moment Shedeur stepped into that building in Cleveland, something felt off. Reports started surfacing almost immediately. Shedeur Sanders was not receiving first-team reps. Let that sink in. A quarterback drafted to be the future of the franchise.
Play. Obviously, they had good return coming out, and then we got backed up there. I felt like the player was on the line, Tony. I was not sure how that didn't get overturned, and then we're backed up inside the one, which is a tough place to start in a game against a good football team.
And he's watching from the sideline while others run the offense. Then came the meeting room allegations. Sources claim that Shedeur wasn't sitting in the front row during team meetings, that he wasn't prepared, that his attitude wasn't where it needed to be. And here's where things get really interesting, because anyone who followed Shedeur at Colorado knows this narrative doesn't add up. This is a player who was praised for his work ethic, his leadership, his obsessive preparation. Suddenly, in Cleveland, he's being painted as someone who doesn't take it seriously. The whispers turned into shouts. Fans started connecting dots. Was Kevin Stefanski intentionally sabotaging Shedeur Sanders? When Dillon Gabriel started getting looks over Shedeur, the frustration boiled over. Social media erupted. Deion Sanders, never one to stay silent when his sons are involved, made his feelings known. The Cleveland Browns organization was under a microscope, and Kevin Stefanski was squarely in the crosshairs. For weeks, it felt like Stefanski had already made up his mind about Shedeur Sanders. And based on everything we were seeing, that decision wasn't favorable. But here's what they didn't count on. Shedeur Sanders refused to break, despite the limited opportunities, despite the politics, despite a situation that would have crushed most rookies mentally. Shedeur waited for his moment, and when he finally got it, he didn't just show up, he showed out. His first start against the Raiders gave us a glimpse. The arm talent was there, the poise was evident. The decision-making, while not perfect, showed flashes of a quarterback who belonged on an NFL field. But the real statement came against Pittsburgh. Beating the Steelers is never easy. Beating them as a rookie quarterback with limited preparation time, with a coaching staff that allegedly never believed in you, that's a different kind of victory. And Shedeur did exactly that. He stood in the pocket against one of the most physical defenses in football. He delivered throws that silenced critics. He led his team to a divisional win that, frankly, many thought was impossible given the circumstances. The narrative started shifting.
I think with a young player, you see progress and you want to see continued progress. And there's been so many areas that we've been working very hard out on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, and then it shows up on the games. And that's the fun part of development and coaching, where you get to see guys taking coaching and taking instruction. And when you have a player like Shedeur who's so eager to improve, I think you see that in each one of these starts. I think with a young player.
Now, this is another clip.
You know, got to win, so that's great for the young man. Gets to beat Pittsburgh, gets to beat a division rival. So they're not going to be easy, not in this division. So proud of him for that. There's always things he can clean up. I thought we got a little unlucky on that first interception. We can certainly learn from the second one, and he will. But yeah, he continued to battle. Yeah, obviously he won.
Now, that was at the conclusion of the game last week. Now, what's surprising about all of this is that no one expected Kevin Stefanski to be praising Shedeur, and he's definitely doing that. He almost like sending him off to where, like, you know what, this was kind of my bad. I held you back in a sense.
Analysts who had written him off began reconsidering. Fans who questioned his NFL readiness started seeing what Colorado fans already knew. Shedeur Sanders wasn't the problem in Cleveland. And maybe, just maybe, Kevin Stefanski was starting to realize the same thing, which brings us to the moment that has everyone talking. 24 hours before Shedeur's final start of his rookie campaign, Kevin Stefanski stepped up to the podium for a Week 18 preview press conference. Standard stuff, right? Talk about the opponent, discuss the game plan, give the usual coach-speak answers. But what Stefanski said about Shedeur Sanders was anything but standard. Listen to these exact words. I think with a young player, you see progress and you want to see continued progress. And there's been so many areas that we've been working very hard out on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, and then it shows up in the games. He continued. And that's the fun part of development and coaching, where you get to see guys taking coaching and taking instruction. And when you have a player like Shedeur who's so eager to improve, I think you see that in each one of these starts. Did you catch that? Kevin Stefanski, the same coach who allegedly froze Shedeur out, who reportedly gave him no support, who was accused of actively sabotaging his rookie quarterback's development. That same Kevin Stefanski just called Shedeur eager to improve and praised his progress. But he wasn't done. When asked about Shedeur's performance against Pittsburgh, Stefanski said something that shocked even the most skeptical observers. You know, you got to win, so that's great for the young man. Gets to beat Pittsburgh. It's to beat a division rival. They're never going to be easy, not in this division, so proud of him for that. Proud. Kevin Stefanski said he was proud of Shedeur Sanders. And then, perhaps the most telling comment of all, when discussing Shedeur's interceptions in the game, Stefanski offered something that sounded almost like protection. There's always things he can clean up. I thought we got a little unlucky on that first interception. We can certainly learn from the second one, and he will. But yeah, he continued to battle. A little unlucky. Not he made a bad decision. Not that was on him. Stefanski said Shedeur got unlucky. For a coach who reportedly wanted nothing to do with this quarterback, that's a dramatic shift in tone. So what do we make of all this? Let's be real. The timing here is impossible to ignore. Reports have been circulating for weeks that Kevin Stefanski's job is on the line. Some insiders have gone as far as saying it's not a matter of if, but when. The Cleveland Browns have underperformed expectations, and when that happens in the NFL, the head coach is usually the first domino to fall. So is this praise genuine, or is this a coach trying to protect his legacy before walking out the door? Think about it from Stefanski's perspective. If he gets fired and the narrative remains that he sabotaged a first-round quarterback, that follows him forever. Every coaching interview, every future opportunity will be shadowed by the question, what happened with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland? But if he can flip the script now, if he can point to these press conferences and say, I always believed in him, I always praised his development, then suddenly the narrative softens. Some fans aren't buying it. Social media has been flooded with reactions calling this exactly what it looks like, damage control. One tweet that went viral put it bluntly, Stefanski suddenly loves Shedeur now that he knows he's getting fired. Convenient timing. Another fan wrote, actions speak louder than words. Where was this energy when Shedeur needed first-team reps? But others are willing to give Stefanski the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he genuinely saw growth. Maybe working closely with Shedeur over the past several weeks changed his perspective. Maybe the Pittsburgh win opened his eyes to what he had in front of him all along. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. But one thing is undeniable. Kevin Stefanski's tone toward Shedeur Sanders has completely transformed. And whether it's genuine or strategic, the message was received. Here's what makes this situation even more fascinating. Stefanski didn't just praise Shedeur. He acknowledged the work they've been doing together, the practice field, the meeting rooms. The areas they've been working very hard on. That's significant, Because if all those reports about Stefanski freezing Shedeur out were completely true, there wouldn't be this level of collaboration to speak about. Either those reports were exaggerated, or something changed behind closed doors that we weren't seeing. Could it be that Stefanski initially had doubts, but Shedeur's professionalism and dedication won him over? Could it be that working with him day after day revealed a different player than the one Stefanski expected? We've seen this before in the NFL. Coaches who misjudge players early, only to become their biggest advocates later. It's not common, but it happens. Or, and this is the cynical take, Stefanski knows how this looks. He knows the optics of a white head coach reportedly undermining a black quarterback from a famous family. He knows Deion Sanders has a massive platform. He knows how quickly narratives can define careers. Maybe this is all about protecting himself. Whatever the truth is, one thing remains clear. Shedeur Sanders has handled this situation with remarkable maturity. While his coach's support was questionable, while rumors swirled about his standing with the team, he kept his head down and worked. And when he got his chance, he delivered. Now, let's look ahead. Sunday's matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals represents Shedeur's final start of his rookie campaign, and it's not going to be easy. The Bengals have been on a tear defensively. Since Week 12, they've forced 11.
You've asked similar questions like this throughout your career, but how would you evaluate kind of where you are right now, you know, as an NFL quarterback compared to the beginning of the season? Where do you feel like your progress has been, and where do you feel like you still want to go?
I think in every situation, it's always going to be things that you want to work on, things that you want to get better, you know. So I think that's where I'm headed. You know, I'm in the learning and understanding phase, you know, of this game and how things are.
11 turnovers. Their veteran secondary has been jumping routes and creating havoc. Guys who have been in this league for years, who have seen every trick in the book, waiting for a rookie quarterback to make a mistake. Joe Burrow is back healthy and looking like himself. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins remain one of the most dangerous receiver duos in football. When those three are on the field together, Cincinnati wins 67% of their games. That's an elite rate. And defensively, coordinator Al Golden has been scheming up pressure packages specifically designed to confuse young quarterbacks. They're going to throw looks at Shedeur he hasn't seen before. They're going to test his processing speed, his decision-making, his poise. But here's the thing. If Shedeur can go into this game and perform well against a defense playing at its peak, that's a statement. That's the kind of performance that carries into an offseason. That's the kind of game that announces to the entire league, this kid is ready. Stefanski acknowledged the challenge in his press conference. He said the team needs to trust their eyes and make great decisions. That's coach speak for, we know they're going to bring pressure, and we need our quarterback to handle it. But notice what's embedded in that statement, trust. Whether intentional or not, Stefanski is expressing a level of confidence in Shedeur that wasn't there early in the season. He's trusting his rookie quarterback to go against a tough defense in a meaningful game. That's growth from both of them. Stefanski also took time to praise the entire rookie class, and this provides important context. Very excited about this young group, he said, and I should mention what they bring off the field. How diligent they are, how they work in the building, how they push each other. They're all wired the right way. Wired the right way. That phrase stands out, because for months the implication was that Shedeur wasn't fitting into the Browns' culture, that he wasn't doing the things necessary to earn trust. But now Stefanski is grouping him with a rookie class that's wired the right way. That's a direct contradiction to the earlier narrative. Either something changed, or that narrative was never fully accurate to begin with. The production has been there. Offense, defense, special teams. These rookies have contributed from week 1 through the end of the season, and Stefanski is pointing to that as a foundation for the future. What he didn't say, but what hangs in the air, is whether he'll be around to see that future develop. So where does this leave us? Kevin Stefanski, a coach whose job security is hanging by a thread, just delivered what many are interpreting as a subliminal apology to Shedeur Sanders. The words "I dropped the ball" never left his mouth, but the sentiment was there. The acknowledgement of hard work, the praise for eagerness, the pride in victories. It felt like a farewell, like a man who knows his time is running out trying to make peace with a situation he may have mishandled. Whether Stefanski survives this offseason remains to be seen. The Cleveland Browns have decisions to make, big ones. And those decisions will shape not just the franchise's future, but Shedeur Sanders' trajectory as well. If Stefanski stays, the dynamic between him and Shedeur will be fascinating to watch. Can they build on this apparent reconciliation? Can trust be fully restored? If Stefanski goes, Shedeur gets a fresh start with new leadership. A chance to work with coaches who choose him from day one, rather than coming around to him reluctantly. Either way, Shedeur Sanders has emerged from this rookie season with his reputation not just intact, but enhanced. He faced adversity that would have broken most players. He dealt with politics, rumors, and limited opportunities, and he still found a way to shine. The the Pittsburgh win, the development everyone can now see, the maturity in handling a difficult situation. Shedeur Sanders is not a question mark anymore, he's an answer. And as for Kevin Stefanski, history will judge whether his words were genuine or calculated, whether this was true growth or last-minute reputation management, whether he actually came to appreciate Shedeur Sanders or simply realized how bad the alternative narrative would look. But in this moment, with the cameras rolling and the world watching, he said what he said. He praised a player many accused him of sabotaging. He expressed pride in victories he allegedly tried to prevent. He acknowledged work ethic he supposedly questioned. Was it an apology? Maybe not explicitly, but it was something. And in the NFL, where coach speak is an art form and genuine emotion is rare, something is significant. The viral footage is out there. The words can't be taken back. And Shedeur Sanders, whether he chooses to accept it as an olive branch or dismiss it as too little too late, has the final say in how this chapter ends. One game remains, one more chance to make a statement. And if Cleveland's young quarterback delivers again on Sunday, the conversation won't be about what Kevin Stefanski said. It'll be about what Shedeur Sanders proved. What do you think? Was Stefanski's statement genuine or calculated damage control? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. I want to hear from you. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. Stefanski's job status, Shedeur's offseason development, and the future of the Cleveland Browns are all about to unfold, and you don't want to miss a single update. One thing's for sure, Shedeur Sanders is just getting started, and no matter what happens next, he's already shown the world exactly who he is. Stay tuned.